Hey, I'm Sarah Mitchell. I'm a sleep consultant at Helping Babies Sleep. I'm also a chiropractor by training and a mother of two. And I've been helping parents get their kids to sleep for about 4 years now. And today I want to talk to you about newborn sleep. And we often don't talk about newborn sleep because with parenting we often have kind of a retroactive approach to sleep, is that we'll fix it or deal with it when it's really troublesome. Not only that, but being a first-time parent, the newborn stage can be kind of overwhelming, especially if you're breastfeeding. It may be going well or not so well, and really, getting your child nourished is the most important thing beyond getting them to sleep. You can always fix that stuff later. However, if you're an overachiever and you want to start setting out some healthy sleep habits, or maybe it's your second time round and you're feeling a bit more confident, there are lots of different things that you can do to help your newborn sleep. If you have any questions at any point, please comment on them and I'll address them through the Go Live. And if you hear something that I say that resonates you, please click the like button so I know what you're interested in. So what can you do with your newborn? Well, the first thing that you kind of need to think about is start how you want to finish. So, we talk about sleep training later on at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. It actually should be called sleep retraining, because during those first 0 to 3 months, we're actually training our kids how we want them to fall asleep. And the most common way we train them to fall asleep is by using the boob as a soother, because we don't really understand our kids when they first come out and we're new parents. And what we have found is that if we offer them the boob, they will often soothe and quiet the crying. Well, the first thing that you can do to help your newborn is know how long your newborn can comfortably stay awake for. And really at the very beginning, that's about 45 minutes. So from when she wakes up, you feed her, burp her, and then she's really ready to be put back down to sleep. By 3 months, that time span may have extended to about an hour and a half, but that's your maximum. And what happens after these time spans have elapsed is that your kids become fussier and harder to put down. We call that being overtired. And the implications are overtired, or what I just mentioned. They're harder to put to sleep, they have trouble staying asleep, and then they have a risk of more frequent night wakings. I personally have been through that myself. We didn't know what we were doing, so we used to keep my son up longer to try and get him to sleep better, which obviously backfired for us. I particularly remember one instance of rocking him for 40 minutes to try and get him to fall asleep, and then he woke up 20 minutes later crying and unhappy. So we call these things awake time charts. And awake times will tell you, the comfortable time that your child can stay asleep for. So again, that's about an hour for a newborn, and maximum an hour and a half by 3 months. Not only that, but that awake time will be the shortest in the morning. So after your child wakes up, say 7 in the morning, she'll be ready. Your newborn will be ready for back to sleep by about 7:45 or 8 o'clock. So that's one thing you can do is watch their wake times. The second thing we need to know about having a newborn is that our kids aren't going to tell us when they're ready to sleep. It's our job to kind of set them up and make that happen. Again, we can do that by watching the awake time charts and also creating little short bedtime routines to let them know that sleep is coming. It just helps create consistency and get the work done for you as they age, so they already know what to expect. In your newborn stage, maybe you have, a sleeping area in the living room where your newborn is sleeping during the day, and then have a little different nighttime routine at bedtime where she sleeps either, in your room or in her crib. And I always like to change their PJs right before bed as a cue that it's nighttime sleep. Obviously, set the lights dim, create that mood, and be consistent with that. One thing you need to know is sometimes you're going to have to work for it. So sometimes things may not always go away and they won't doze off right away. Things that you can help, you got to think about your toolbox. What's in your toolbox for your newborn? Things that are in your toolbox are something called the Dunstan baby language. And I'm going to put a link into that in the comments after this call. And the Dunstan baby language is essentially an Australian opera singer who noticed that her baby's cries had some similar sounding sounds, which meant different things. She's been on Oprah, so I guess that means she's completely legit. But I found it to be a lifesaver with my 2-month-old. So this whole time I was wondering why he was so fussy. I realized he was saying ow, ow, which meant that he was tired. There is a little bit of learning curve with the Dunstan baby language. Like, you won't hear that ow cry every 30 seconds. You may have to wait and observe your baby and let them fuss and cry for maybe a couple minutes before you can really understand. And that's a really important thing about having a newborn, is that you need to be prepared to be an observer. It's so ingrained in us that we need to stop the crying and fix everything. But if you can stay calm and watch and listen and learn, you're going to be able to meet your child's needs that much more. It's so easy to see a fussy baby and just pick them up and put them to the boob. Oh, she must be hungry. And not to mention our partners. Oh, she's hungry. You got to feed her. But if you think, oh, well, I just fed her 45 minutes ago, and it's the middle of the day, something else is bugging her. What could that be? And the Dunstan baby language will help you. I have found that kids are far more gassy than we actually ever realize. And, that's when you're in the newborn nursing stage. That's something to think about with your latch. Is it appropriate? Is it working well? Are there foods that you're eating that could be bothering your child to make them gassy? I know with my daughter, she had silent reflux. And I once had a Diet Coke at about 7 o'clock at night. And she was up from 2 to 3 inconsolable. And I'm 100% sure it was because of the caffeine in that Diet Coke that bothered her. She had different sensitivities than my son. She didn't like it when I ate gummy bears or Bridge Mix, which totally broke my heart. So I had to take those right out of my diet. But the sugar, and I've worked with other clients, a 5-month-old that woke up every two hours at night, and we took out the candy. She was also a Bridge Mix fan. We found each other online. And that helped with the night wakings, as well as doing some sleep training at 5 months. What else is in your toolbox? The other things that are in your toolbox is swaddling. Gosh, swaddling is such a great tool. The purpose of it really is to reduce the moral reflex, which is that startle reflex that's there and exists until about 4 months. By 4 months, it starts to disappear. And you want to stop swaddling your baby between 3 and 4 months for the risk that they could start to roll over and be stuck in the swaddle, and that could have some consequences that we don't want to deal with. But swaddling is a great way to calm newborns and young babies. I highly, highly recommend swaddling. It makes them feel safe and secure. And often I hear people say, oh, my baby hates swaddling. Well, she's 2 months old. Does she really hate swaddling, or is she just so tired she's just going to disagree with everything because she can't figure out what she wants? And it's your job to swaddle her, because you are in charge of her health and her well-being, and you make the decisions for her. And sometimes we have to work through things a little bit. Like, yes, she may hate it for the first 2 minutes, but if you make it to the 2 or 3 minute mark, she may calm down and really find it successful. So that be an observer also ties in with give what you're doing the chance to work. Often, I would set a timer for myself. I said, I'm going to try to get this kid burped. I'm going to give it 3 minutes. I'm going to burp her, and she's crying and fussing, but I'm going to wait 3 minutes. I can wait 3 minutes. I'm here. She's beside me. I don't need to mute those cries. I need to try and meet her true needs. Another thing we did was with my newborn, we had her in that big swing. Another great tool in your toolbox, because it kind of disorients them and it soothes them. It's true. But it helps them fall asleep. So yes, we're doing the work for them, but that's okay when they're a newborn. We have to help them out. We want to keep them well rested. And well rested will help decrease the amount of fussiness and the amount of night waking. Anyway, I had her in the swing, and we should just note that if your child is in the swing, you should be alert and watching them at all times. And she was still fussing, and I had a moment of self-doubt. Now this was my second, so I was far more confident than I was with the first one. And I'd already sleep trained the first one, so I had this great ball of theory with me, and I knew what I was doing was the right thing. So I said, we're going to set the timer, and we're going to give this 5 minutes to work. And it took her 5 minutes of crying, which just absolutely got on my nerves and drove me crazy, because I felt so bad that I wasn't fixing it. But after 5 minutes, she settled and had a great long sleep of stretch in that swing. So your swing is a great tool to use as well. You can use it to help extend naps. You can use it to get out of that witching hour too. So when our child was less than 2 months, we would sometimes have her fall asleep in the swing during that witching time when she was hard to settle. Let her fall asleep, and then we would transfer her to the crib when we were not going to be able to watch her in that swing any longer. Okay, the witching hour, it's real. It's between 6 and 10 o'clock at night for newborns. And often kids are cluster feeding, trying to get more calories into their bodies for a longer stretch of sleep in the nighttime. Nursing on demand, I totally believe in that. At some point, I think it's also important, though, to stop using the boob as a soother. Once her weight's up, your milk supply is well established, and move to a more timed schedule. So a newborn may go 3 hours during the day with feeding on both sides, and then maybe be able to do 4 hours or more at night. What else is in your toolbox? The pacifier could be a tool that's in your toolbox. I put the pacifier in there because there are kids that have sensitive stomachs, and having a sensitive stomach can be more fussy and hard to deal with. And the pacifier, according to Dr. Harvey Karp, kids who suck on a pacifier, the action of sucking actually creates small involuntary contractions in your small intestine, which helps the food move through and calm the stomach. So I put the pacifier on my list for that. Otherwise, I don't really encourage the pacifier because it's something external that your baby needs to fall asleep that you're going to have to wean from at some point. But you know what? At 0 to 3 months, you do what you got to do, and you can deal with those things later. So we talked about, again, those tools were the Dunstan baby language, your awake time charts, swaddling, the pacifier, and the last one is the power of the shh. It sounds really simple, but that shh, 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 that sound can be very soothing to a child and very helpful. So maybe you have your child swaddled in the swing while you're sitting there watching her, and you're shushing her and trying to help her along. All right, so let's do a quick review. If you're online and you want to say hi, please do. Also, if you like anything that I'm saying, please hit like so I know you're there. All right, what else do I want to talk to you about today? All right, so let's just do a quick recap. So start by feeding your baby when she wakes up, rather than trying to use the boob to put her to sleep. Use your other parenting skills like burping your child, using the Dunstan baby language, swaddling, being an observer to help figure out what your child's true needs are so that you can set her up for success along the way. Yes, you can fix all these sleep troubles later on, but wouldn't it be nice if you never had to do sleep training and let your baby cry because you set her up for success from the beginning? These habits in the first 0 to 3 months, we're teaching our child how to fall asleep. We're actually training her right now how to fall asleep. So when people talk about sleep training, it's really like sleep retraining, because whatever you're doing between 0 and 3 months is setting up the framework for how she's going to fall asleep. So if you can, try using things other than nursing or a bottle to make her fall asleep. And the trick with that is it's going to be easier for her to fall asleep if you get her down before she's overtired. So again, for a newborn, we're talking about 45 minutes to an hour. By 3 months, 1.5 hours at the very maximum to be back asleep. Okay, if you like what I've said today, I have a free Helping Babies Sleep group that I moderate on Facebook. There's all kinds of moms with kids of different ages who are there to share their stories with you and give you the reassurance that you need. And I also hop on and help with some sleep tips as well. So it's the Facebook, it's the Helping Babies Sleep Support Group, and I'll add the link to that in the comments below. Okay, have a great day.